Antonelli's earliest engagement included Italian advertisement for Coca-Cola. In 1965, she made her first feature film appearance in L Sedicenti, although her performance went uncredited. Her American debut came in 1966 in Dr. Goldfoot and the Girl Bomb. Her breakthrough came in 1973's Malaysia. She appeared in a number of love farces such as Till Marriage Do Us Part. She worked in more serious films as well, including Luchino Visconti's last film The Innocent. In Wifemistress, a romance film of 1977, she played a repressed wife experiencing an awakening. Viaggio Celebrity Presents Top 20 Laura Antonelli Films. Number 20. Simona. Simona was produced in the early 70s, definitely during Laura Antonelli's most prolific and successful time of movie making. It is surprising then that this movie quickly slipped into obscurity, but it doesn't take more than 10 minutes of watching to understand why. It is a desolate village somewhere on the Belgian beaches. It is fall. The shy young man George meets the hooker Simona and they quickly fall in love. Then they encounter the strange young girl Marcel and 2 plus 1 equals 3. Marcel's problem is her degenerate father, a body puppeteer who has never gotten over the death of his wife and see Marcel as some form of replacement. When he finds out about the girl's contact to George and Simona, he locks her up in his castle. The rescue attempt have tragic consequences. While this may sound like a love drama, the movie is 70s weirdness galore. No other decade could produce anything comparable and bring it to the big screen. Number 19. The Venetian Woman. This is a classy looking movie set in late Renaissance era Venice, where a young man carries on a love affair with an older Italian noblewoman. There is also a kind of upstairs downstairs thing going on as the young man's servant also get together with the noblewoman's voluptuous lady in waiting, except that it's literally kind of reverse. At one point the servants are upstairs having love in the attic and stop for a moment to spy on their master and mistress, who are also having love downstairs on the floor below. And of course, there is also a near love scene between Antonelli and Guerrito. Actually, despite the historical setting and the arty trapping, I can't help but suspect that this is really just meant to be another Italian love film, to show off the young, nubile body of Guerrito and the mature but still gorgeous body of Laura Antonelli. There is nothing wrong with that, though, I guess. Number 18. X-Rated Girl. This is one of those vaguely arty, Freudian-based Italian love comedies that were popular in the early 70s. It is very similar to Lucio Fulci's The Eroticist and to the director Festa's earlier The Libertine. But it's not as cleverly satirical as the former and doesn't quite have the effective story of the latter. The film redeemed Lando Buzzanca and Laura Antonelli from The Eroticist. Buzzanca plays a bass who is frustrated by his own ignominy. No one seemed to ever notice him or remember his name, and he lived perpetually in the shadow of his famous virtuoso violinist father. While accompanying his wife to a doctor's appointment, he becomes obsessed when he notices other men staring at his wife's gorgeous body. He concocts increasing elaborate and public scheme to get both stranger and colleague to see his wife in the altogether. His wife body replaces the bass cello as his instrument, forgetting the attention of the world, and he has strange Freudian dream. Number 17. Gradiva. After unearthing an ancient bas-relief sculpture of the Gradiva or woman who walk, a young archaeologist begins to dream of the figure eluding him, while also pursuing a mysterious woman who eludes him in his waking life. The surrealistic Italian drama from director Giorgio Albertazzi involves a picturesque sculpture of the little female that heavily entices a young archaeologist to the point that he experiences seeing various hallucinations involving the female figure, as he soon finds herself drawn into two affairs. The first being a brief one with Rita Calderoni and then a longer one with Laura Antonelli. Gradiva has Albertazzi displaying plenty of surrealistic imagery that elevate the film and keep it moving, along to the point of it being deeply intriguing, as it is well acted by the cast, making Gradiva a strong, compelling feature. Number 16. Devil in the Flesh. It tells a tale about Wanda, who is driven by her husband Severin into love dominating him. This entails her being bluntly unfaithful and treating him contemptuously. As time progresses, he struggles with his own rule. The movie benefits from the sure hand of director Massimo Dallemano, who was responsible for two excellent later films with Giallo, What Have You Done to Solange, and the Giallo Pugliese-Teschi crossover, What They Have Done to Your Daughter. Venus in Fur isn't in the same bracket as those, but then it is a very different type of film. It's pretty playful tone-wise for the most part, with a cheerful launch soundtrack. It also looks pretty good with some decent location, while Antonelli is great to look at as well. It is fairly erotic with a lot of classy body exposure, but be warned, it does also contain a pretty notorious moment where we are treated to the sight of a couple of horses. Number 15. Sesoma II. Sesoma II is comprised of a series of 8 comic sketches, each on average 10 to 15 minutes long, all having to do with love, and all featuring two of the giants of Italian cinema in the 1970s, Giancarlo Giannini and Laura Antonelli. The love in the movie is pretty tame by 21st century standard, and much of its humor comes from things that would have been shocking in the 1970s, but aren't anymore. A lot of that humor having been diluted over time. However, what interested me most was the sharp contrast between the acting style of the two talented leads. Giannini is consistently cartoonishly exaggerated, following in the tradition of many great comedians, from Chaplin to the Marx Brothers to Jerry Lewis to Lucille Ball, Whoopi Goldberg, Jim Carrey and Jackie Chan. Antonelli, on the other hand, take a completely opposite track by trying to realistically portray how someone might actually act if caught in a ridiculous situation. These follow the style of equally wonderful comic actors like Carol Lombard, Jimmy Stewart, Bill Murray, Julia Roberts and Will Smith. Antonelli is also one of the finest examples of how to act with just one eye. Number 14. Dr. Goldfoot and the Girl Bomb. Dr. Goldfoot once again plot to take over the world by using female robot designed to blow up high-ranking general of NATO countries, starting a war between Russia and America. It's up to disgraced SIC agent Bill Dexter to stop Goldfoot. This movie's Italian version titled Le Spie Vengono dal Semifreddo is a parody of The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. This title translates literally into English as The Spy Who Came In From the Semi-Cold, or more commonly The Spy Who Came In From the Frozen Custard. Number 13. Till Marriage Do Us Part. Brilliant cast and unpredictable comedy, seductive storyline, Antonelli is at her best. Michael Placido steals the show. An amazing storyline that tells the secret of two-generation aristocratic and very eccentric family. The comedy is hysterical and very un-American. Deal with human nature and the various love taboos the most American film would never dare touch. A young naive woman who has been raised by none in an orphanage realizes on her wedding night that she was married her long-lost brother. Rather than create a huge scandal and lose the family inheritance, they decide to keep the secret to themselves. The way the end being brother and sister is told through a wonderful flashback sequence. They cover up their secret by publicly taking a religious vow of chastity as a married couple. The young wife, however, although prudent and conservative, becomes very frustrated. Michael Placido plays the sofa that attempts to seduce her. Number 12. Porca vacca. War carries off everything, your hope, your dream, and you forget who really are. So in a Wipeout Italy during the Second World War, an artist is compelled to quit his stage and accomplish the military service. A spectacular movie in which Renato Pozzetto interchanges sea of funniness and very serious moment. Attached to the value of friendship and love for freedom, the main character will search to live this experience with composure, despite the daily tragedies waiting for the ending of the war. This is the message: never lose heart, because everything can change if you believe it, and neither the fear for death nor the disbelief can hinder you to smile in front of troubles. Number 11. Chaste and pure. The old widower Antonio enjoyed dabbling with the vast family heritage, but the actual heir is his daughter Rosa, and once married, she will get control over all the riches. To ensure that this will never happen, Antonio had pressed the decennial Rosa to take a vow of chastity. Now 20 years later, Rosa has remained true to her vow, but the temptation all around her just get to be too much for her. Antonio realizes he has to act fast to secure his position, and therefore stages a pagan festival where his lustful friends shall dispose of Rosa's desire once and for all. Many of director Salvatore Sempri's work deal with impossible love or romantic fulfillment, and he is known for his biting satiric stance on bourgeoisie, old-school social convention and similar class conceit. All these ingredients are present in Caste Pura, but it is just played out too simply. There is a bunch of random buffoons hanging around Antonio's villa, all deranged, incestuous, greedy, and what not. Number 10. Slices of life. There are exactly 11 different slices of life in this comedic look, primarily at the French and their mores. The series of 11 vignettes vary in length, in hilarity, in quality, and in content. In the segment on the changing culture of Paris, a French housewife has adapted to her neighborhood, dressing like an African and renaming her son. She insists on the liberality of the neighborhood because the French are accepted there. In another vignette, an average couple is interviewed on television about the social climate in their region. Other segments have varying success in their attempt to parody the world at large, making Slices of Life a somewhat uneven effort in the end. Number 9. Sesoma II. Dino Risi did a lot of sketch collection during his great career as writer and director, and in 1982, he teamed up with some of the most popular actors of the time, Johnny Dorelli, Laura Antonelli, and Gloria Gaynor, to shoot Sesoma II. Dorelli is seen in all of the 10 episodes, Gloria in 5 and Antonelli in 3. The structure with its seconded episode brings along the usual problem. The movie can't keep a constant quality level. There are a couple of entertaining episodes for some other no one will ever care for, and the rest is just very poor. And when the credit roll, you will just wish the crap had been cut and the good stuff had been extended. Speaking of Sesoma II, the share of total time waster is luckily rather low and the share of mediocrity quite high. But one thing for sure, Rishi could do so much better. The first Laura outing, a widow moved into room where a hooker used to live and she suddenly kind of like to assume that role. 2 is not much better. Number 8. Swashbuckler. Bidding a hurry farewell to his beloved France after the untimely death of an aristocrat, the humble commoner Nicholas flee to South Carolina and make a fortune as a crop merchant in late 18th century America. Successful and rich, Nicholas yearned to settle down by marrying an affluent heiress. However, when someone accuses him of bigamy, the wedding is called off until the groom returned with an official divorce certificate. Having no other option but to comply with this urgent request, Nicholas landed at Nantes shortly after the outbreak of the French Revolution. Number 7. Rimini Rimini. The film is divided into episodes set on the beaches of Rimini. Gildo is a moralistic magistrate who shut down red light district, but his enemy conspired to photograph him in a compromising position with goddess Lola. Laura Antonelli plays a wealthy woman who believes her husband has drowned. A priest is forced to put his mouth on a topless nun as the battle of morality versus misbehavior unfolds. A seagull is forced to fall in love with a hefty, a priest fall in love with a nun, and a poor employee is forced to do menial job to his master for not being fired. There is a preacher on vacation, a silver costume flogger who falling in love with Lola, a very busty woman, find himself slept or in bikini in the sea until sunset, and will disguise himself for that which as a woman to be unmasked, while dancing the tango with Pino, a modest variety artist. There is Liliana, a young lady whom a friend tried to push into manly arm, and she ends up seduced and blackmailed by the 12-year-old son of the friend. And then again a young priest involved in an adventure with a foreigner, as well as a group of 3 brothers, massive and burly beyond word, who do everything to bring a smile back to the lip of Nosbovi, their sister, alleged widow of a man who was believed to be lost at sea, and who then reappear more vigorous and eager than ever. Number 6. Wifemistress. After Divina Creatura and L Innocente, 1977's Mowgli Mente was Laura Antonelli's next step in the world of auteur cinema. Perhaps even her best performance, although the movie is unfortunately kind of obscure. A small town in the Veneto, the winter of 1912. Traveling wine merchant Luigi is witness to the murder of her business associate. Although innocent, he realizes he would be the prime suspect and therefore decides to fake his own death. But from his new hideout, he can see directly into the room of his home. He sees his wife Antonia, a rich heiress. Their dysfunctional marriage has tormented the beautiful woman for years, has even confined her to bed due to delusional illnesses. When she hears about Luigi's death, she seizes her chance to break out of the cage. She follows Luigi's itinerary and discovers all he had hidden from her for years: his work, his ways, his hobby, his vices. And she learns all what was kept from her: love and self-awareness. Number 5. Pardon, are you for or against? Successful 15-year-old entrepreneur Tullio, opposed to divorce for religious reasons, is in fact separated from his wife and lead a frenetic life divided among numerous lovers. In the 1960s, a law introducing divorce in Italy was strongly opposed by the church, and Italians were divided between favorevoli and contrari. In this movie, Alberto Sordi plays his usual role of the little Italian rascal. He makes business with the clergy, proclaims himself 100% Roman Catholic and a strong opposer of divorce, but has a really peculiar private life, living separated from his wife. Number 4. Lovers and other relatives. The sensational success of Malaysia obviously called for a sequel of some kind. So 1 year later, in 1974, most of the Malaysia production staff, including the main actor, Laura Antonelli and Alessandro Momo came back together to shoot Peccato Venial. Somewhere on the beaches of Tuscany in the 1950s, a well-off family spent their vacation. The old parent constantly quarreling are the least of the problem of their son Sandro. 16 years old pubescent rebelling, spending the day with his friend playing prank and starting to get interested in women. However, the only woman he is seriously interested in is the beautiful Laura, the wife of his older brother Renzo. And while Renzo is usually out for business reasons, Sandro and Laura get to spend a lot of time together on the beach. Well, that's the obvious and constructed vehicle to replicate the success of Malaysia, bringing the same two actors back together in a romantic situation. But apart from that goal, the two films are not really comparable. This is because Malaysia has a strong dark side to it. The love tension there are not mutual but forced. The characters are credible and you can sympathize with them. Number 3. Innocent. In the 19th century in Italy, the aristocrat Tullio is married with Giuliana and has a paramour, Teresa. He decides to leave his wife and to stay with Teresa, but after a period she dispenses with him. Tullio comes back to his wife, but she had an affair with a writer, friend of his brother, and is pregnant. Tullio asks Giuliana to make an abort, but she refuses. When the child is born, Tullio hates him, but Giuliana tries to protect the baby. In the end, a tragedy happens. This movie is an intense drama and certainly not indicated for a general public. The cast has an outstanding performance under the magnificent direction of Luchino Visconti. The movie shows also wonderful and very detailed reconstitution of the Italian aristocracy in the 19th century. Number 2. Avaro. Misery Moneyland Apagon is looking to arrange 3 weddings simultaneously to cut down on cost, one for himself and the other for his 2 children. Of course, he doesn't approve of the choices his son and daughter have made, and conspire to arrange more well-to-do spouses against their will. However, fate will prove itself to be on the side of true love, not of the greedy. Soldi plays the miser Apagon himself, known as Apagon here, and does so with relish. Apagon is able to count money by ear. The setting is moved from Paris to Rome and filmed in actual Roman palaces near Vatican City, and with a star-studded cast including Laura Antonelli as Madame Frosina, Mary Laforet as La Contessa, former Miss Italia Anna Canacas as Apagon's daughter, and the actor with perhaps the longest resume on this side, Christopher Lee, as the conniving Cardinal Spinozzi. Number 1. Malaysia. Malaysia was a big hit in 1973. It launched Laura Antonelli's career and established the reputation of director Salvatore Samperi, an iconoclast filmmaker. The film is not vulgar at all. It tells the story of a young maid, Angela, who works in a house for a widow and his son. One of them will conquer a teenager whose discovering love instinct will blackmail and conquer her. It is a very elegant picture, superbly photographed by Vittorio Storaro. It takes place in Sicily. The family is very bourgeois and society very conservative. Samperi and screenwriter Ottavio Gemma choose to adapt this love comedy in this context in order to create a contrast. The film won several prizes and critics praised the picture. Today, Malaysia is quite old. It is a typical 70s movie. It was made after 68, after the breakup of many romance and moral frontier. It is a provocative opus, very provocative, but never vulgar, as I said, Italian classic.